Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good morning. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this spring forum of the European Association of Irrigation. It's really good to see you all towards the weekend now. For those of you who join us for the first time, so my name is Moshe Bernstein. I'm the president of the association. I live and work in France, as you already understood, and I'm managing director of the company, of the irrigation company Netafim in France. On behalf of the board of directors of the association, I would like to welcome you all to this event. While letting other people join us, I guess that we should we'll begin, and hopefully you will find this forum today's forum interesting and beneficial for you. Next slide, please. You're running the slide, right? Yeah, same rules, which I have the pleasure to repeat every forum. But it's important. Please, if we want to have the forum running smoothly, some housekeeping best practices, as always, be aware of the fact that we are recording this. Are we? Yeah, we're recording this. Thank you. The forum. So we let other people enjoy it later on. If you don't want to be seen, please don't open the camera and don't show your name. If you do want to be seen, we really encourage opening the cameras and showing your name properly, because then we know you're there and we know you are as well. Mute your microphone, please, if you would like to communicate with us. Please participate through the chat box. And then at the end of the session, we're going to have open a microphone session, questions and answers, and so on and so forth. Next, please. Continue more housekeeping rules. The EIA conduct, the rules of conduct, and this is something that we need to keep in mind always for the avoidance of any misbehavior. We believe the discussions we're having here are kind of a free competition environment discussions. We strictly adopt the code of conduct of the association in all interactions, forums, discussions, meetings, events, working group sessions, and so on and so forth. Simply saying, we don't talk about commercial aspects here. No pricing, no costing, no clients, no markets, no financial results, and nothing confidential that we share here. And this is completely, it's not allowed here. This way, we concentrate on what we are here for, to promote together sustainable irrigation for Europe. I think I covered this one, so let's move to the agenda. Please, next slide, please. Thank you. So what is it that we're having today? So we start with an introduction, what's going on in the association, quick update on the activities since the last forum. Frankly, quite a lot is happening in the association. We're quite busy. We have a lot of activities, very high volume of activities, and even higher volume of plans, I would say. Plans are much larger than the voluntary time that we donate to the association, and we're quite happy with this. We try to push it more and more, faster and faster, because we believe in what we do. Then Fleur will introduce the new members to the association, and join us since the last forum, which was in January. So we have the honor today to present 3 new members with us. Valley and Padula and Zerovit, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken. So you're gonna have the pleasure of meeting them soon. Then we move to the first guest speaker, the main guest speaker of today. The first topic, we're presented by Abdelkader Ben Saoud, who is with us, I guess, already. From hi, hello, nice meeting you. Meeting you now. From Hydrosol, it will take us through a quite fascinating presentation. I already saw it, I have to say, but into the cooling power of urban trees, right, in the metropoles. And I think that this time we'll visit the streets of Lyon in France with the presentation of Abdelkader. Then we're gonna have the session of innovation and technology, where we invite. Each time we invite one of the members of the association to share technology, innovation with us. This time is Xavier. I think it's Xavier, not Javier. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. Xavier Eftimakis from Challenge Agriculture, do you remember, to talk about the evolution of irrigation management and tensiometry. So this will be the part of the innovation. And then, as always, it will bring us to the end of the forum, and then we will open the microphones. We love to hear what you think. Please don't hesitate, and we encourage you to participate. Your participation is a great pleasure for us, and then we can fine-tune whatever we do here with your comments. So they're welcome. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is my part. What's new in the association? A few words about recent activities in the association. We'll briefly cover 4 topics. Just at the tip of the fork, the taxonomy remains, I would say, one of the most interesting topics for us. It's a very important subject because of the potential impact on the future of the irrigation. We really feel that this is essential, that for the sector, through the EIA, it's possible to provide this relevant inputs to the discussions on sustainability and financing in Europe. We see the impact, the future impact of the taxonomy on our sector as a very important one. Not only the sector itself, but also I would say, the water management in Europe. That's the reason why we keep on talking about this. Then I will share with you a little bit of what are the plans, what are we doing already this year as an association. Few words about another channel where we feel that we can influence on the European project, through the European project, participation in the Horizon and the other projects within the framework of Europe. So I will share with you 2 applications that were done with the participation of the EIA. And then last few words about the new services we're having today. We introduced a service of a newsletter and flow of information to the members. This is being provided by Alienor, which is a European agency of EU policy and communication specialist in this area. So please, next slide, please. Which should be the taxonomy. Yeah. All right. So well, I think that for some of you, you already know this, but things are moving forward as well. So after several months of work, supported by many internal and external experts, the guidance of the Ambrosetti House, the European House Ambrosetti, I'm sorry to be correct. We finalized the position paper on the sustainable irrigation focus on the framework of the EU taxonomy. The EIA officially submitted a policy paper to the European Commission, which identifies the economic activities and technical criteria to measure the potential contribution of the irrigation sector to the environmental objective defined by the EU taxonomy. So as a reminder, the EU taxonomy is a classification system established in Europe to define what does it mean sustainable activity, and by definition, what is not, what is green, what is not. And so we want to be part of this, and the objective of this document to highlight the value for its own and for the value chain, the whole value chain of the irrigation, of the food sector, and for the green city resilience, green cities, the potential enabling role of the irrigation in the sustainable transition, and the management directly involves the management and the usage, the protection of water resources and bodies. With this document and its future development, we aim to identify the economical activities for the benefit of everyone. What does it mean? What does it start? What does it end? What does it mean? To advocate institutions, mainly in Europe, but not only, to support the sector sustainability contribution, to bring the place for the sector, and to create also the language, create a technical guide for what does it mean irrigation and what does it mean for the irrigation actors to be to apply the UX taxonomy. So both ways goes here. So next, please. Next slide, please. And one should know that the fact, I would say, I mentioned is the fact that the irrigation activities do not appear today, they do not exist in the regulatory system in Europe, represent a risk for the sector, for the entire sector. The association aims not to only to integrate the sustainability irrigation within this framework, but also to provide the voice, the univocal basis to measure and to improve the performance of the value chain, foster the sector's sustainability transition. So within this paper, we've identified 14 economic activities carried out by the irrigation, and taking into account everyone in the chain. I would say the beginning with the manufacturing, distribution. It aims to tackle the questions of design, how to do a good design, a good sustainable design, the type of installations. Actually, it touches everyone at the end of the day within the sector. End of life management of products, the consultancy services we're providing here, the training, the communication, even the scientific research on irrigation. So we're trying to identify everything that has to do with the irrigation sector from A to Z, as far as we see it, and we are we're eagerly waiting, as I said here, to the European Commission response, and to start this discussion and to have this dialogue on this activity. In parallel, we also continue developing the knowledge transfer, the vocabulary, the voice of the irrigation in different forms and shapes. Here, for example, we did in February, we did a very nice, very successful, I would say, webinar to start working on what does it mean sustainable, to give the basic terms on how to treat this. And if you would like to see more of it, I think I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it's still there. It will remain there. It's an open webinar, so the recording of the webinar is you can find it in the website, on the website of the association, right, Flo? It's still there. I would say. And this, and maybe it's a good opportunity, because we see many logos here, to thank the many participants by funds, like financially. These are the companies that you see here, and mostly through active contribution of the collective wisdom and experience of many people. Without you, it wouldn't have been made this. We could have made this as an association, and we thank you. We appreciate it a lot, your involvement here. And then next, please. I think I've covered this. Next, please. Good. So how do we continue now? That was okay. It ended in 23, but it's only the beginning of a long journey. With this project, issued 5 recommendations addressing 5 main stakeholders, which we're trying to build the channels and the philosophy and the approach on how to create how to continue this partnership. We aim to answer the question and to help receiving the answer as well, on how to give simple access to irrigation companies to the sustainable concept and the criteria for the products, our production. We try to work on to recruit and to engage the end users, value chain, like food chain and so on, to apply the practices to the end users at the end of the day. We want to create a global collaboration. We find this very interesting and important, not to keep this what we're doing here only on the continent, but to open much more than this with other international institutions, and working on the regulation and the consideration of irrigation worldwide. At the point of research, to strengthen the scientific part of this direction to create the tools. Once we identify what does it mean irrigation, what does it mean good irrigation or sustainable irrigation, or we call it different names, how do we measure it? What are the tools? So we need a lot of research, continue research around this to create these tools. And of course, the most easy to understand is the access to funds. If we're going to be able to identify the irrigation as we would like as an economical activity for the benefit of the sector, the sector will grow faster and faster, together with the solutions to the water problems we're having in Europe. So these are the things that we would like to do. We continue doing this year, and I guess it's gonna last a few years. It's gonna remain in the map of activities that we're having. Getting into maybe two aspects that we keep on as guidance, as the compass of what we do. We want to bring the irrigation voice louder and louder to the different stakeholders. We want to talk more and more and more about irrigation, and what does it mean, and how do we consider it as part of the solution or the problem, and we'd like to create the impact. And the impact is starting with this first call to have a formal discussion on irrigation. And this is the position paper, the famous position paper. It's just the beginning of this journey, but it's a call. So this is what we're doing. You see the map here. I'm not going to get into the details. I just copy paste it from our work plan. We have a kind of a very tight timeline and a lot of things to do here. We hope that we will get to do these things. It's really about the participation of the members, because you remember we do this voluntarily. The more the merrier. So you are more than welcome to continue contributing. We will focus on the communication led by Flor with the help of the Ambrosetti House. You will see more and more communication coming on what does it mean irrigation, building the vocabulary and so on. You'll see more and more content creation. Hopefully we're going to advance with not only scanning and identifying the key stakeholders that we would like to develop partnership with, but it's also about how we do it and how we communicate and how we create this momentum, the good momentum, and so on and so forth. So quite busy here. Next, please. Do we have next? Yeah, we do have two topics, right? The European projects. The EIA is also involved in several applications of European projects mostly under the climate priority. And these activities are mostly led by Bruno Moll. I don't know if Bruno Moll is connected here, but I'd like to thank you, Bruno, for this again. I think that two main projects, well, it's not yet a project, it's an application to a project. Is one called the JOICE, Joint Optimization of Irrigation and Control of Erosion. So this is the JOICE. The project includes a well-coordinated consortium of research centers, universities, companies specialized in the area and expertise of erosion and irrigation and control. And we're having here a budget, if I'm not mistaken, of $5 million or euros, so 5 million euros, where the EIA will receive a certain budget to support our help for the next 3 years, if and when we're gonna win. This group will win the project. Second group where the EIA is engaged with is the irrigation group, same project, different aspect, different. Here we are talking about moving from a conventional approach to a more collaborative partnership concept, and with socio-economic evaluation of efficient management of water, and with state-of-the-art irrigation techniques to be applied. So both projects look promising. A lot of energy was put in by the consortium. It will be one or the other. We are engaged in both, and we really hope to win this opportunity. By winning this opportunity, we're going to demonstrate what is the place of the ecosystem, of the irrigation in this ecosystem, in the water management, and what has been effective irrigation in Europe. So cross fingers here. I guess we're going to get the results maybe during the summertime, if we're going to play this or not. Next slide. We have, I think, the last one from my side. Yeah, a few words about Eleanor. Eleanor is well, actually, the end of last year, the board of the association has decided to expand the services we're getting in Europe and the services we provide to support our growth. Some of you know that there is a constant growth of on our activities, quantity, quality, number of members, and also the topics that we're touching. And we decided that we need more and more help on this one. So part of the decision was the implementation of this engagement between the company Eleanor and the EIA. Eleanor is a Brussels-based policy and communication agency, experts in the EU policy decision, and expert in many areas which are very relevant to what we do in the association. And I would say that here the main objective is on this engagement is that we provide this service of information, regular information, ongoing flow of information to our members, type of legislative information and the political development in Europe relating to the topics of the EIA, if it's water and reuse and agriculture and green cities and plastics and so on and so forth. So we're getting both the secretariat services, expanded secretariat services to support our activities, and the monitoring, scanning, monitoring, and communication to our members, to ourselves as well, yes, of course, on the development, things that we can find that can be found in the European newspapers. So this is from my side. I would love to answer questions if you have now or later on. So feel free to ask the questions anytime you would like. And while waiting for your questions, or or maybe we'll do it later on, I think I leave the stage to you, Flor, to continue. Is there any questions or comments before I leave the stage? Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Rashid.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. So today I am going to introduce the members who joined us since our latest forum in January. We are proud to announce that we have 84 members. They are manufacturers, but also distributors, installers, designers, researchers from Europe and other parts of the world. As we do, so I am going to call the new members, one by one, and they have the opportunity to introduce themselves now. So the first one is Valet. Adrian told me that he can't attend the forum, so I will say a few words about Valet company. It is a worldwide leader in irrigation, precision irrigation. They manufacture center pivot, linear, and corner systems. Their headquarters is based in the United States, and they have subsidiaries all over the world. So it is really a leader in center pivot. That's okay. And now I will call Padula, the company Padula, and it's Antoine Lépine who is going to introduce this company, if he is here.
Okay, actually, I mean, it's going to be Olivier.
Olivier, excuse me. Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting us introducing ourselves. Okay, so Padula is a company involved in micro irrigation projects across Africa, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa. and where we have focus on innovating water conservation and trying to control irrigation with a monitoring system called drop control, which we are one of the partner for this company in France and in French countries speaking. And the company has been set up 25 years ago, okay, and mainly focused in Africa.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And the third company who joined us recently is Gerovit. So I don't know if Radislav Sankovic is participating in the forum. Are you here, Radislav? Okay, it looks like he's not here. So I will try to say a few words about Gerovit. It's a young Serbian company with 130 employees acting on the Serbian and the European markets. They are manufacturing irrigation tapes and pipes and multi-perforated mulch films and large-scale bags packaging solutions. So it's most for agricultural markets. Okay, that's it. And this is a map with all our members, the logo of our members. So if you are attending this forum and you would like to join us, I invite you to contact me or Bruno or Moshi, and we could explain you how to become a member and the process and everything. Okay, now we are going to move to the next part, the second part of this forum with Abdelkader Ben Saoud from the company Hydrasol. He will present the cooling effects of urban trees to combat urban heat island. And he has conducted an experiment on sites in the Lyon metropolitan area in France. So I will give it the hand on the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your invitation. My name is Abdelkader Ben Saoud from Hydrasol Consulting Office. And it's a pleasure for me to present and share with you this work on the fight against urban heat island effect. The objective of this study. Hello?
Yeah, tell me.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, please tell me.
We can hear you, but there is someone with his microphone open. So please make sure that your microphones are closed while Abdelkader is talking. All right. So,
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your mute.
Okay.
So the objective of study is to
we have already purchased it already in the
what?
Yeah, we have already.
Yes,
the company
you can mute your microphone, please. Yes. Then, so I repeat, the objective of this study is to use storm water to increase the cooling of the city by trees. The work is conducted under field condition at 3 locations in Métropole de Lyon, Garibaldi, Récamier, and Vauban. Before presenting the result of this study, let me first define the urban heat island and explain the causes and consequences of this phenomenon. I will then give an overview of the service provided by the trees and the water in the city. In the third part, I will present the experiment in Garibaldi site about optimization of cooling by irrigation with storm water. In the fourth part, I will present the experiment in Récamier and Vauban sites about optimization of Colline by connecting storm water to the tree planting pit. Finally, I'd like to end with a small conclusion. So to begin, what does mean urban heat island, UHE? The expression urban heat island was first used in the middle of the 20th century. Quite simply, it's a difference in temperature between a city and its less urbanized surrounding area. As you can see, it's a sort of the thermal dome. In fact, the temperature rises significantly in the town center. So, urban heat island amplify the impact of heat waves, and it has become public health problem. In the summer of 2003, the temperature difference between the city of Paris and its environment was as high as 8 degrees. Then in France, the 2003 heat wave sadly caused 20,000 direct deaths. The next heat wave in 2022, which was slightly less intense than in 2003, caused around 11,000 dead. There are many causes for this urban heat island: human activity, building materials, gas emission, etc. But the main causes are the loss of vegetation and the reduction in urban water supplies. If we consider only the presence of trees in the city, we can see that provide many services. These services are summarized in this slide. Trees and vegetation in urban environment have some benefits, such as air quality, carbon sequestration, rainwater regulation, well-being and preservation of biodiversity. Refreshment of the city is most important to combat the effect of urban heat island. So, trees are therefore very interesting in the city to cool the atmosphere by evapotranspiration. But in order to have real effects, they need a sufficient supply of water. However, the urban situation is often responsible for a decrease in water resources. It's obvious that solution to reduce the effect of urban heat island must be based on both vegetation and water resources. In this way, we can create cool island. To the right of the slide, we had taken temperature measurement in Lyon city on a hot day in August 2016, and that shows clearly the importance of vegetation and water in cooling the city. So there are resilience solutions to create island of freshness. In the face of climate change, The effects observed are water stress in plant, runoff, and flooding. So the solution is to plant adapted species and recover rainwater for their hydric needs. Many developments based in this combination between vegetation and water being made in recent years. You can easily find many publications on projects involving the use of vegetation to provide a cooling effect. In our case, we follow the study of Garibaldi Street in Lyon since 2016. Garibaldi Street is a site that has changed over the years to adapt to new uses and climate change. The heat wave of 2003 was a real wake-up call for a new era of planning. The car is no longer the priority in development plans. The well-being of users of public space is the primary consideration. So a new order of space was created with more place for vegetation, cyclists, and pedestrians. Add to this configuration the tree species chosen for their ability to adapt to climate change. This type of development has served as a pilot site for several studies. And today, the one we are interested in concerns performance to fight against urban heat island effects. As you can see, the Garibaldi site has several sections. The study was conducted on 4 sections. As shown on the slide, section 1 and 2 are irrigated, while section 3 and 4 are not irrigated. The trees in the 4 sections are mature and in principle do not need to be irrigated. Illustration on the left shows how storm water is collected and used to irrigate the trees. In fact, water used for irrigation comes from tank with a capacity of 550 cubic meters. Storm water from the side has been collected and stored in this tank. This tank is underground and is equipped with the lifting pump that feeds the drip irrigation network to the trees. Irrigation control is done by algorithm of data taken by various sensors. Here are sensors installed on site. Water availability in the soil is measured by tensiometric probe placed at depth of 25, 50, and 100 centimeters. The hydric functioning of the trees is evaluated by microdendrometric measurement using microvariation in branch diameter. Thermal comfort is determined by measurement ambient temperature, humidity, ambient radiant temperature, and speed wind. 1 tree per section is instrumented. Lighting mast is also equipped to compare the thermal comfort provided by the trees. Measurements are taken in field every hour and posted online in graph from special internet platform. Now the result. In this slide, we estimate the cooling power by microdendrometry. In fact, microdendrometry measurement can be used to assess growth and transpiration, which are two indicators of cooling by shading and evapotranspiration. In order to fully understand the microdendrometric results that follow, here is a reminder of the basis of interpretation of the data obtained. At dawn, the diameter of the branches decrease because the transpiration is higher than absorption. In the middle of the day, absorption largely satisfies the transpiration and the diameter increase until maximum at the end of the day. The difference between the maximum of two consecutive days represent daily growth, which represent biomass production. The difference between the minimum and maximum diameters on the same day represent the AMC, maximum amplitude of contraction, which represent transpiration. The curves below give an example of how these parameters, daily growth and AMC, change as function of water status. And the water stress, daily growth and contraction decrease with the intensity of the stress. So in the case of Garibaldi study, here the curves of microdendrometric evolution as function of irrigation during heat wave. We can say that the tree in the irrigate section, blue curve, maintain his growth and transpiration during the heat wave. Tree not irrigate, green and red curves show a drop in growth as soon as heat wave arrives. So the question is, what thermal comfort can we have with irrigation trees during heat wave? Thermal comfort, which is an indicator of cooling, is assessed by UTCA, Universal Thermal Climate Index. This index is calculated from several parameters: ambient temperature, radiant temperature, humidity, and wind speed. The UTC value is used to determine the stress level, as we can see in this slide. The stress level is moderate between 26 and 32 degree UTC. It's extreme and can be fatal above 46 degree UTC. In the case of Garibaldi study, stress levels were moderate to high. So, in this slide, average UTC is calculated during the summer of 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And first all, we can see that the presence of trees has a significant effect on thermal attenuation. The UTC value of the trees are always lower than those of the lighting mast. This difference confirms the significant effect of the presence of trees on thermal attenuation. This effect is amplified when the trees are irrigated. Real decrease in UTC of more than 5 points can be observed. In 2022, we gave about 880 millimeter irrigation. So let me remind you that for these histograms, the UTC value are general average of the 3 summer months. But when we focus only on period of heat waves, we can then when we focus in only of heat wave periods, we say that irrigation tree provide a thermal comfort gain above 9 degree UTC. So, in conclusion of this first study case of Garibaldi, we can say that the solution of recovering and storing rainwater to irrigate trees during heat wave is promising solution. It will have to be adapted to harvest runoff as near as possible to the tree and be integrated into development projects as early as possible. Now the second study. This study concerns the Life Artisan Project. This is an European project that consists of increasing the resilience of territories to climate change by encouraging nature-based adaptation solutions. The Métropole de Lyon has been selected as a pilot site on the theme of desealing public spaces in the city with the aim of cooling the city during heat wave. The image on the right here shows the high level of water lost by runoff in urban area, 55 20% compared with 10% in natural environment. In response to this situation, action has been taken in Lyon on existing trees. Tree operations are carried out at the base of the tree. The first one consists of creating an infiltration and storage trench that communicates with the tree pit. At the second action, the border must be removed to direct the runoff water to this trench. And finally, at the third operation, the soil is added and the area around the tree is planted. The result of these actions is what is called a storm water tree, arbre de pluie in French. The study sites are the lime trees in Vauban and the ornamental apple in Récamier. Two trees by site are equipped with the same sensors as for Garibaldi, one storm water tree and one control tree. During the season 2023, monitoring of water content by tensiometric probe shows that for both sides, Vauban and Récamier, the pits of the storm water trees remained more wet than the pit of the control trees. During the summer of 2023, the difference between storm water tree and control tree is amplified. So the water reserve was greater in the pit of storm water trees. It was 64% higher for the Vauban tree and 7% higher for the Récamier tree. The water reserve of Vauban storm water trees is accompanied by a growth increase of more than 120% compared with the control. On these curves, growth is calculated for the full monitoring season from April 2022 to October 2023. During the same period, the water reserve of Récamier storm water trees was accompanied by an increase in growth of more than 225% compared to Récamier control. When only the vegetative period of trees is considered during the month of April to October 2023, the increase in growth from the addition of rainwater is confirmed for the two sites. However, when we look at the transpiration, we can see that the transpiration of Vauban storm water trees is lower than the control tree. This way, because it by the low filtration rate of the soil. Vauban storm water tree reserve a lot of water, large impluvial surface in the soil with low infiltration, which decrease its transpiration. We know that excess water slows transpiration. The soil of Recamier is more stony soil, thus more permeable. Regarding thermal comfort, the evaluation of the effect of the storm water tree on UTCA shows a slight gain in thermal comfort for Recamier over 1 degree UTC. For Vauban, however, we have the opposite effect. We guess that the lower transpiration of the Vauban storm water trees could explain this result. Study of this live artisan was started in 2023 and it continues actually into 2024, and we hope get a significant thermal attenuation by storm water tree this year. So in conclusion, the two studies presented here show clearly that acting on triptych of water, soil, vegetation is a real solution for combating urban heat island. We need to plant and green the city, and we need to increase the size of permeable surfaces in order to collect rainwater and to satisfy the water needs of plants and to increase evapotranspiration. Designers and urban planners must integrate this triptych into their projects in order to create island of freshness and bring well-being to citizens. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Abdelkader. This was, as I mentioned before, it was fascinating. Yeah, bravo for this. Let's open for questions and comments from the audience. Please go ahead if you had any comment. I see that there is one hand raising. Yehiam. Hello there.
Hi. First of all, thanks a lot, Abdelkader. It was very interesting. Thanks for sharing with us. One question regarding the dendrometer, or in general, were you using in order to schedule the irrigation? Did you use also the forecast? So in case that a heat wave is coming up, you would prepare the trees 2-3 days pre-prepared, in terms of watering it, or was it any part of the decision making? How was it?
For decision for irrigation trees, you see?
Yes.
But yes, it's important. Yes. We for irrigation, we introduce weather forecasts and our software to irrigate 3 or 5 days before heat wave.
Got it. So its focus was part of the decision making then.
And we irrigate during heat wave.
Yeah, this I saw. I understand. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Andreas. Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Hello. Nice to see you, and thank you very much for the presentation. we have one question about the water quality. So usually when you have traffic or when you have pollutants or when you put salt on the street for de-icing, you get a lot of substances into the water that can harm the plants. Do you see any low-tech possibility to increase the water quality before you put it in the irrigation system, or will it always be an expensive task to clean the water?
Actually, we have experiment with the filter to increase quality of water before irrigation. We harvest, we collect water, and we pass it in the filter to extract pollution, and then we can storage it. In the Garibaldi situation case, we need that collect of water will be near the impact of rainfall, because the pollution is due. The cause of pollution is runoff. If you collect water near the site of storage, we reduce pollution. I answer to your questions.
Is there any other question?
I have a comment to question, please. But I let everyone else if there are more comments or anyway. But just is it this project is because this is we're in the Irrigation Association forum, and it's always interesting for us when we look at this. We're touching many points which. These are exactly the points that we're trying to fight against, the preconception of irrigation. What does it mean, irrigation, especially in the cities? The food is easier to defend on the agriculture. In the city, it's always the question of if you bring water, why do you need to waste water in the city? And there are many political narratives which are against this one. So kind of interesting to understand if this project is considered to be a research project, or did you take it already to the next level with the city of with the green city of Lyon, I guess, or maybe Métropole de Lyon, or I don't know with whom. Did you get a chance to try to move this forward into practical ideas and convincing political representatives to invest in such a solution at the end of the day? Or it's still in the phase of the research?
Yes, the Garibaldi project is it was an European project, an IoT project, Internet of Things, and the evolution of use storm water to irrigate was the demand of landscape team of Lyon, and they will be develop this solution for other sites. I think the problem actually is the question is, can we install network system of irrigation, or can we build the pit of trees for storage of water rainfall? the question is not resolved actually.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I understand, but this is really interesting because this is our place is to try to translate and to use the proven results that you're having here and to repeat this in other cities and then to make it popular. If we have the arguments, how we can move this, how we can use irrigation and water solutions around irrigation, we can try to move this political narrative. We can try to move this preconception slowly but surely based on objective results, and to propose as a sector to propose solutions on how to collect the water, how to automate the irrigation, how to treat the water with right filtration, how to use wastewater utilization, and so on and so forth. This is like this is exactly the place of the research that we're looking for, this kind of collaborations, to make it again in simple terms, to certify what we are saying, because when you come with solutions, usually we tend to be perceived as promising, like the baguette magique, But here we have a real like opportunity to bring results and to go together to the decision makers at the end of the day. And maybe it's easier in cities like Lyon today because of the political aspects of the city, and to convince them to continue investing more and more in the development of these solutions. So thank you for this. It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we can move to the last part of this forum with the innovation and technology session. It's Xavier Timakis who is going to do a presentation about the recent evolution of tensiometry to face climate change. So this time it's more an agriculture presentation. Xavier?
Yes. Can you hear me and see my screen?
We can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Now?
No.
Okay.
You have to
And
use
now?
yes, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, super. So let's talk about adaptation of tensiometry to climate change. So just to introduce the technique, let's say that tensiometry is used in 3 domains that are agriculture, that we are going to talk about, urban trees that Abdelkader has just talked about, and also there is an application that is geotechnics. Geotechnics, it's quite important, and it will be in the future because it's dealing with soil and climate and consequence on buildings and damage to buildings. And it's a chance for the technique to be also very predictive and to be able to prevent and to find solutions for building damages. But we won't talk about it. If you are interested, you can go to the site and learn more about it. So let's talk about tensiometry in agriculture, and just roughly say what is tensiometry. It's just to go quickly. It's a structured technique that has got a century now. Equipment have been manufactured for almost 80 years, so it's not new. It's not new. So what I'm going to try to explain is, in fact, the technique is the same, but it's the way we are using it that is going to change. To make it short again, let's say that to reach a good level in this technique, it's about 25 to 30 hours of training of courses to begin to understand the interest of it and to use it properly. And to become somebody that can use it in complicated cases that we are going to see after, it takes a little bit more of experience. But it's just to say that a technical level can be reached quite easily. And this technique can find solutions to many problems, including what we are facing now. Just to finish with the technique, like any technique, let's say that there are good practices. There are several levels. This technique can be used like any technique in any kind of field. It can be a simple observation. You can use sensors, read things and observe things. But it won't be more than that. You can try to reach a decision help, what we call OAD in French, like it's a tool that helps you decide things. It can reach a level of irrigation management on a farm, for example. It means that this technique alone, but it doesn't mean you can't use other techniques, but alone it can be a very good way to manage the entire irrigation on a farm. And there is another level, and I'm going to talk about it at the end, that we call smart irrigation. And with Fleur, we are writing an article about that. that will be called Controller, Who is the Boss? So I will talk about it at the end. Just to finish with the way that a technique is just, it's like a tool. It's what we are doing with it that is the most important. So let's say that the climate fluctuates more, let's say that. And let's say that the resources count more. It's not a scoop. And for sure, the capacity of the soil to store, to move, it means the water going down and going up becomes more interesting. It means I don't know if it's the end of the models where the soil is ignored or of no importance, but what I'm sure of is the capacity of the soil, its behaving, will be a central subject in the future. So let's begin with, to avoid, I have only 20 minutes, so I have taken an example. So I have taken only one example, is the drip irrigation. I explain you why, because drip is really needing a high level of technique. It's critical to be a very good technician in drip irrigation. So it concentrates all the problems and the issues and the solution that can be found to help the soil to monitor the soil. So I have taken only this example from the beginning to the end of my presentation. So what I would like to show you here, it's, let's say, during the 10 past years, we have observed, I have taken the example of Perpignan, because it's, well, you understand quickly what we are talking about. And this scenario of Perpignan means a big drought during 3 years, 1/3 of rainfall less than normal, past year half of normal, and this winter nothing. So it becomes a desert. So we are facing a real problem. I don't really know if it's the future, but it can make part of the future. So what I want quickly to show you there, but before showing it, I'm just going to present how to read this graph so you can understand easily. This is what a farmer gets, or a technician gets, when he's connected to a platform and following tensiometric readings. Above, we define the fields and a few interesting things to remember about that field. This table gives us a decision help with levels in the soil. In this case, we have close to the drip emission point and further we have a median that tells us the size of the bulb. Okay, and here you can see comments because we are practicing advice, weekly advice. So we discuss with farmers every week. We give advice, we discuss, they ask questions, we try to answer. Rainfalls, a quantity of water that are applied by VoluCounter. So we know everything that is given to the field. Here you can see all the 16 sensors that are used in this technique and their soil temperature. Just to tell you that with this kind of help, we can see things. And what I want to show you here is just a simple phenomenon that you can see here is the tension. So it's red, low tension, a lot of water in the soil, comfort, and then up, the soil is drier. Huh? You read it, it's saturated when it's low, 0 to 10, etc. And when it's going up, it's drier. Here, of course, time. So what you can see here is the tensions are high during winter time, and they stay high. And what you can see here, there is an event, and all of a sudden, the tensions, the soil is relaxing, as we say, so the tensions are going down. It's coming back to a normal situation we could call field capacity. But if you look here, when does it happen? It happens at the end of February, 220. So it means that in Perpignan, at 220, the soil has come back to a normal, let's say a normal situation at the end of winter time, only in February, okay? And if you look further, I don't have it on this graph, but for example, this year, it has not come back to any normal, let's call it normal situation of field capacity so far. It means in April. So this means simply that this region is still under the, let's say, the events of past year. We are in April 24, it's still suffering of the events of 23, okay? So this shows you that the timetable and the soil history can be very disconnected. Okay, so I can show you now what we used to say 20 years ago. We had a theory on how to equip fields to get an idea of what is a bulb, the distances, this gradient of tension, how to evaluate volumes of water, how many times and so on to get a certain bulb. Let's say it was the theory 20 years ago. Now I can show you the technique we are using nowadays. We have we have put a technique out, let's say 10 years ago, a little bit more, and with 16 sensors, real-time transmission, transforming tension into color here. We make a video, and we have real-time. In fact, we see the bulb. It's a median bulb. It's a representation. I will explain further how we do it on 4 different bulbs with 16 sensors, but we get a 2D movie. So it's like if we were underneath the soil with a camera and we had the bulb in front of us. Okay, so here I can show you what is happening in a normal situation. It means end of winter, the soil is nicely full of water. I will accelerate here. And at the end, you can see now it's starting. Okay, the season is starting. So the soil was full of water. The tree is pumping, and now you can see it's starting. The bulb. We have to now think about making a bulb. Now let's look at the same situation in Perpignan. This is 23, but it's the same now. So you can see the soil is completely dry, and we are trying to make a bulb. Okay, and so it means that, and we are trying, and it's a fight. It's a fight. We put water, and we have to modify, and then we try to do it. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that, and we have learned that in the 10 past years. Before, the soil was with us. We didn't even think that the soil would be against us when we had to start irrigating to make a bulb and to follow it and to monitor it. Now we have situations where the soil is not against, it's not with us. Let's say it's neutral, and we have clearly situations where the soil is against us, or it's not against, but the history of the soil makes that the situation is against us. So what to do? I will show you another one, like this one. This is not in the same region. And here you can see the representation of the, let's say that what I've showed you before, the way we are representing 20 years ago, which is a little bit naive. And the way we are watching it now with, let's say, modern technologies. In fact, it's exactly the same. Or looking at curves like this to see how the soil is going out of excess and now going to fill capacity, and will go in the tension area where we need to start. So this, let's say, is normal again. Let's call it normal, or let's call it a nice situation. Of course, it's the normality is a convention. So once again, you start with a soil that is very nicely full of water, and at once rain again, and it starts. Okay, now if you look at this one, sorry, I have many there. I'm not going to find it quickly, but let's say you have understood that, for example, in Perpignan last year, and it's incredible. It's incredible that we gave that advice, but we have asked some farmers to begin irrigating 3 weeks before flowering, 3 weeks before bud break. It's incredible. It means that we have started irrigating a soil to make bulbs, and it took us 3 weeks to make sure that at bud break, we had a situation that is normal. And that we need, because when it breaks and when it goes, it's fast, it's flowering, and then the size of the fruit is critical, the multiplication of cells and so on. And at that point, we need to handle the bulb, to monitor it, and to be sure we'll be able to follow, to handle it. So to give an advice as a company that has always made savings, sometimes significant, let's say, to ask a farmer to begin irrigating 3 weeks before you have even a leaf on the tree, to make sure you are fighting against a situation and you manage to make it right, it's something surprising. but it's what we did, and successfully, successfully. Okay, so what I'm just telling is, in fact, there is no big, it's not a revolution. It's just that we are using the knowledge and the technique, and we adapt the advice in consequence. But the base is the tool must be able to observe things, to be statistically strong enough, and the advisors to be confident enough, and the technique to be also, I would say, enough able to convince people. Is the reason why that echography of the bulb, in fact, I told you it's the same as looking at a graph or making a theory with a little graphic. But with this tool, the interest is on the pedagogic point of view. We are much more able to explain things to people, to convince them to save water, a lot of situations, but also to make things like I just mentioned 2 minutes ago. So now I would conclude, because I can speak for hours about that, and I don't. Just to explain, we have in France, and in France you have 100,000 sensors in service every year. 100,000. Okay. We follow with our partners 1,000 fields every year. 1,000. It means in season, when it's needed, of course, in irrigation season, it's a weekly advice. It means that our partner and I, we look at 1,000 graphs every week to give advice. Okay, and on those 1,000, we have around 100 echography of the bulb, like I just showed you, the most sophisticated technique in drip irrigation. And so what I'm trying to introduce is to face the problem, because it's becoming a problem. Let's be serious. It's a problem of the climate change. We have the tools, but we need to have more techniques, to be much more technical, and we need much more powerful tools. And I will conclude with our more powerful tool just now, that is the SMART. Just to introduce the SMART, using the name SMART doesn't mean anything. You can read smart irrigation with a rain gauge that will stop a controller if it rains. Okay. I'm not saying it's not smart, but I'm just saying that smart doesn't mean anything unless you accept that smart, it means smarter than it was less smart. So there is a level, and you can increase the level. It's like any technique. So I will give you an example here. It's a cherry tree orchard. We have readings like as usual. We have the advice, the rain, what is going in the drip system with a volu counter. And here you can see the machine takes the decision. It's the machine that takes the decision, and it tells us what it's doing. The blue part is when it's telling yes. So just to give you the details, the machine is a controller. It's allowed to irrigate 8 times every day. It can be from 0 to 8. And every time the irrigation is coming, the machine is going to interrogate the sensor, and the sensor will give figures. The figures will be compared to thresholds, and the decision will be taken yes or no. It means this irrigation is needed. This irrigation is not useful. So, and the machine tells us, yes, I irrigate, and no, in gray underneath, I irrigate. And it tells you every day, every week. So we have a real-time system that tells us exactly what is the need of the tree, of the orchard, for water. This system is, according to me, is the future for sure. It means smart irrigation. What is smart irrigation? Is when data from the environmental data, let's say sensors, any kind of sensors, let's say, will interfere in the loop. It means in a closed loop of a controller, that let's say an open loop of controller is going to irrigate without any data coming from outside. It will do the job, and if you let the controller do, it will be the same from the beginning to the end of the season. The smart
we lost him, I think.
Oh, we just lost him at the most important part. He says it's smart, and then we all want to take a note.
Okay, maybe we'll reconnect.
Yes, it was there were too many windows open there. You like it, huh?
Very much, but I feel unsatisfied. It just stopped in the.
No, but I like the idea. It's a very nice idea on how to use this technology in different in a powerful way, in a different way. But, I think that well, okay, we're gonna wait for Xavier. In the meanwhile, I want to. Okay, let's just wait a little bit more for him.
Yeah.
But I can make a. Yes, hey, how are you doing? I see you raising your head, Oslina. How are you doing?
Yeah, I actually have a question before our speaker returns. So he said in France, if I understood right, 100,000 sensors.
Yeah.
Is that only for their company, or is that a total for France?
No, for the company.
Oh, for the company, okay.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
what I
what
understood.
yeah, well, it's for the company. It's only for what he's doing.
Xavier is here, no? He's sharing his
No,
screen.
he's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back, I think.
He's back, but
Xavier,
trying to find the good
yes.
right page.
Okay. Ah, okay, you are here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And do you see my screen again?
We see now ourselves in your screen, so just to share we see the screen of the opening of and let's try to conclude this, Xavier.
Okay. So sorry.
Yeah, we get it.
Let's go to questions. Sorry for the
It's
the problem of those little switches. You see those little switches? That's super.
I think Rosalira has a question. You can ask it, Rosalira. No? You have a question?
Yeah. I can repeat, of course, but I already got the answer to the first question. I was wondering if it's 100,000 sensors in France in total, or only for your company. And then I have two more questions. So obviously, farmers are willing to pay for your service. You have a great number of people joining the idea of smart irrigation. I was wondering, is that a general interest in France, or farmers that engage with your work are sort of an exception? What do you think? What is the general state?
Yes. So 100,000 sensors is just our company and partners, but it's nothing. It's nothing. To have 1,000 customers that have a weekly advice, it's nothing. It's a drop of water. It's absolutely not existing. So what I want to tell you is, I've been spending 40 years of my life on this subject, and it's my passion. But my impact on the way people are irrigating is not existing. It is nothing. I'm nothing. Okay, but I'm just telling you that I'm pretty sure, I'm convinced that there is no other way in the future than to have the soil in the center of the subject. Everything is happening in the soil. So it means we have to change theory about lots of things that have been done without, let's say, without the soil. Let's say that in the 50s, you had pedologists, you have agronomists, you had people that were looking into the soil and so on. What we can see is now, 10 years ago, it began to start again. There is a new generation of people that are going again to look in the soils, the roots, how it works, the behavior of the soil and so on. It's coming back. It's coming back. But we have passed, let's say, 30 years with models that were, let's say, kind of doing without the soil or little information about the soil. So let's say that maybe I was not born at the right time, but we are nothing. Really, we are nothing. But we have enough information, like 70 million data. Okay. We have enough experience. We observe enough things because we like it to go with farmers to manage irrigation every week. We discuss a lot. We only advise when we have installed the equipment ourselves on the fields. It means we need to know the guy, the technique, the equipment, the level, the technical level, what he's able to do, not able, and to know the soil, of course, how it's instrumented, and then to follow with the people. But I think it's, let's say, a way to solve many problems. So we need to go back to the soil. We need to observe the behaving of the soils. We need to go in the fields, see all the exceptions, to make with the local problem and to solve it field by field. So it means it's going from models that should give advice. And I'm not criticizing. The model is super because it can help many people to have an external help for irrigating. But I guess it's not enough to solve problems if they happen to be even more critical. That's my point. My point.
Definitely interesting. Okay, I think that you can just maybe stop sharing the screen if the presentation is over and we can see each other. Any more questions or comments?
I think Bruno has a question.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, thank you very much for these two communications, really of interest. I was not very clear with what you were saying, Xavier, about when you say that the soil is against us. You mean that that we need also to irrigate the soil, or instead of only irrigating the plant, or what do you mean precisely?
Yes. So from the beginning, it's what we are saying. We irrigate the soil, and the crop is taking water into the soil. That's the key element. We are not irrigating a plant. It doesn't exist. We irrigate the soil. The soil is moving the water to the roots, and because of the difference of tension, the water is moving. It's moving down when it works, It's moving up and it's moving laterally. And it's thanks to that phenomenon we can eat every day. Because if not, if the water was not moving laterally to the roots would dry the soil and die. So thanks to the difference of tension, the water is moving. And it's moving up. It's moving up. And what I can show you is we have made lots of savings and we are doing it more now by observing the soils outside the bulb and deep. Because in some situations, the soil is working with us with water movement, upwards movements, capillarity to make it simple. Okay, but now what we have learned is before we were not doubting that soil would be against us. In some situations, I'm not saying that it's general, but we didn't even think about it. It means that we were starting the season in springtime. The winter time was the winter when soils were recovering. So you were starting the season very easily at field capacity. You were observing the soil drying gently, and then you were just starting your drip, making your bulb, and doing it very easily. But now we have learned in very short soils, like Mont du Lyonnais, in Perpignan, which is really, it's becoming, and I've seen it in South America for years, in deserts. We are not learning. In Europe, we don't know about it, but there are regions in the world that they very well know what I'm talking about. So in this case, the soil tension is against the good management of the bulb at the beginning, because it means if you give big amounts of water, you are just sure to lose them because they are going down and the soil is going to move them down. So if you want to make a bulb and you want to keep it, you need to predict the stuff. You need to put many starting times per day, and you need to be very, you need a very little volumes each time to make sure the plant is going to take it before the soil. It's a battle. It becomes a battle between the soil and the roots. That's the problem.
I would add something to Xavier, that usually before the soil was wetted at the end of winter. But when the soil is still dry at the end of winter, then the conductivity of the soil is too low to permit the water from the drip irrigation to diffuse. Because when the conductivity is not enough, then
it doesn't start.
Of tension don't mind before the water cannot diffuse in the soil. So you cannot form a bulb at the beginning of irrigation. To form the bulb, you need to have a soil that is at minimum wetted. So that's when to dry, it's like it would be against us. I understood what you mean.
Yes. So, but we did it, Carol. We managed to do it. But let me explain. What we have found is, in fact, the big problem is the controllers. It's the reason why we are writing an article with Fleur about controllers. And I can give you the name of the article. I named it funnily. I said, controller. Who is the boss? Who is the boss? Okay, who is the boss in the system? Okay, the soil is the boss, that's for sure. But talking about irrigating, the controller is the key, because many controllers do not allow you to put more than 3-4 starting irrigations per day. It's not the solution. I can show you graphs where authorizing 8 starts per day with very low, 20 minutes in 1.6 liter is very little. It's like 0.5 liter. At the end, if you take the problem very early and you insist a lot and you come back and you insist with little volumes, but you do it for weeks, you manage to make a bulb, but it's against the soil and it's very hard work. So what I want to tell you, if you are just thinking that volumes will bring a solution to your problem, you can forget it. It will not save you. The volumes will not save you. So it's at the same time a good news and a bad news. The good news, and we know it for years, it's not the volume that is counting, it's the opportunity to make the soil work and to use its ability to move water. It means the tension that is in the soil at that moment to help you move the water like you want. That's the good news. And the bad news is the equipment. It means hydraulic controller and so on. The knowledge of people that keeps on the past and with traditional ways of doing it is against performance. So we need to move quickly to understand the soil, to use it properly with little amounts of water. The hope that I want to give is I'm not saying that we need much more water to do the job. It's not what I'm saying, because we have very good results on very short soils or in Perpignan right now, where we have 80 situations, so we know what is happening in Perpignan, and we see that there are 5 or 6 types of soils that are not the same, so it's not always critical, even under a climate that is like a desert climate, of course, we use more water. I would like to say the contrary, but it's not so desperate. Let's say that. It's not so desperate.
So I think that there is another question of Bruno.
Yeah, this is a very short one. Very short one.
Please, so let's make it short. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for this illustration. And something that you were announcing in the presentation, and that because of the cut you didn't mention. How many tensiometers do you need to draw the echography of bulbs?
16.
You mean 16 around one dripper, or do you have
four drippers?
4 drippers.
Okay. You have 4 tensiometers for each dripper.
We cannot make statistics on a bulb. It's not possible. You need to have repetitions. At level 3, it's at the minimum 3 repetitions. Level 4 for smart irrigation, minimum 4 bulbs. Minimum.
Okay, that's clear. Great. That's clear. So I understand.
All right,
the maps.
I hate to be the bad guy, the police, because it's a very interesting discussion. But I think that we already took the 20 minutes, and I allowed myself to extend this discussion because it was an account of the time that we're having for the open microphone discussion. Usually, it's not the most active part of the forum, so excuse me for extending the time. And because it was very, very interesting. So thank you very much, Xavier, for this presentation. And I think that, Flo, right, this is the time to close the forum. So before closing the forum, I'd like to open the microphone if you have if anyone would like to add anything, suggestion, comment,
I think
anything that you would like to
Bruno,
add?
you want to add something? No.
No, it's Bruno.
I was just thanking Xavier.
Okay.
Just
want to add that the presentation of Xavier will be, the presentation of the forum will be on the EIA website next week. So you can log out and access to it. There will be a recording of the forum also, and the article of Xavier we will publish about controller. It will be published on the website too, in the resources, technical resources section. So.
Thank you, Fleur. Thank you everyone. Especially thank you, Bruno, for picking up these two very interesting topics today and for arranging this. I think it was we've been in the city, we've been in the field, and we see the connection, everything. Really a great thank you to the guest speaker, to Abdelkader, and thank you, Xavier, for your very interesting presentations and sessions. We found it really inspiring. This presentation will be shared. Special thank you to Fleur, as always, for calling this, and I think that Jean-Maurice is always there behind, so if I don't see him right now, but thank you everyone
I'm here.
Okay, good. So thank you very much for your support.
Good, Jean-Maurice.
No other questions and no other comments?
No, just one comment. Yeah. Just one comment. The next forum will be on June 16th or
no,
21st of June, and with two presentations, one which will come from a guy from Carrefour that is presenting the quality, the ideas they have about the certification of quality. That includes not only pesticide, fertilizers, and so on, but also water. And that is really interested in the work we do with taxonomy. And the second will be from our colleague from SolarLit, which is working with soil conditioner, the type of soil conditioner that they are adding in the soil. And she will present us an overview of the different soil conditioners that we can get. Thank you.
Nice. We continue focusing on the soil, as was suggested here.
Yeah, again on the soil.
Right. So we keep the same line. Nothing is changing here. Good. Thank you very much. I wish you all a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being with us. Ciao, ciao, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Nice weekend.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.